This is the Spectre Performance Cold Air Intake, and it's going to be one of the most affordable ways to get an aftermarket system fitting 2011 to 23 5.7 liter HEMI chargers without a shaker hood, while also offering a little bit more flash under the hood thanks to the polished finish. Now, this no tune required intake is CARB certified, making it appealing to owners in all 50 states, and will feature an easy bolt-on install, offered right around that low $200 price point. All right, so moving right into our features block, and in my opinion, the Spectre Intake is going to be for the non-shaker HEMI charger owners out there who maybe are more concerned with saving a few bucks as opposed to going with some big, recognizable brand name option that might offer a few more bells and whistles or features, such as different materials or maybe a more elaborate sealed air box. Now, what the Spectre will deliver is an open element design here that will certainly add a little bit more growl to your HEMI under acceleration, in addition to more throttle response, power, and torque, all at a very affordable price point. Now, construction-wise, the Spectre will combine a few different materials here, starting with their polished aluminum intake tube. Now, owners should expect, I would say, a moderate level of flash under the hood with this system installed, but keep in mind this isn't a chromed option, so I wouldn't expect that mirror-like finish unless, of course, you wanted to polish this thing up even further. Now, heat shield is going to be constructed from a durable stainless steel and given kind of a hammered matte black powder coat to keep things looking good. Filter is going to be a reusable high flow oiled option, and again, that can be cleaned and re-oiled over time. Now again, the system does get a CARB EO number and will include all of your couplers, worm clamps, and everything else needed for a relatively painless install. Now, coming in just north of $200, the price point for the Spectre here is going to be one of the lowest in the category again for your HEMI powered charger at home. In fact, only the options from SR Performance will be a little bit more affordable than the Spectre at the time of this video. On the flip side of things, if you did want to check out one of those big brand name options, whether it be from Corsa, K&N, or so forth, well, of course you can find those here on the site, but they are going to cost you a good bit more money at the end of the day. Last but not least, let's switch gears and talk a little bit more about the install here, and I'm happy to say that intakes in general, very straightforward. So if you have a basic set of hand tools and the slightest bit of mechanical know-how, you should be able to get the Spectre in place without trouble. The site's going to call it a solid 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, maybe an hour or so of your time to complete from start to finish. But now to give you a better idea of how this one might go down in the garage or driveway at home, let's throw it out to the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
For this install, you will need an impact, a ratchet, an adapter if necessary, 8 and 16 millimeter sockets, a Phillips head screwdriver, and a pair of angle cutters. What's up guys, today we're going to be installing an intake on our charger, but before we get started, we're going to send you to watch a quick video on how to remove your factory intake, and we'll see you when you get back.
All right, so let's get this engine cover off of it first, and that'll give us access to everything else underneath. Now we can disconnect our mass airflow sensor here and loosen the clamp on our throttle body clamp using our 8 millimeter socket. All right, so to disconnect our mass airflow sensor, is going to press the release clip on the plug and pull it out. Now we can loosen our clamp using our 8 millimeter socket. Now we can disconnect our breather hose from the engine and take out this bolt here using our 8 millimeter socket that holds our air box in. Now we can disconnect our air inlet tube from the throttle body and lift the whole thing out in one unit.
Alrighty guys, welcome back. The first thing we're going to do with our new intake is grab our bracket / shield. We're going to add in our provided weather stripping. So this is going to go along the outer edge up top as well as down bottom. And this weather stripping has a nice seat. We're just going to line this up, push this into place, all around it. Now, sometimes these corners can be a little bit tricky. What you want to do is these do have a metal insert. in the sleeve. And kind of bend this around and get it started down this way. Work it over into the corner. Now most times it's not going to go on quite perfect in the corner. That's a-okay. This is more just for protection rather than sealing. I'll get this down here, and once you get close, you can grab a pair of angle cutters. Snip that off. Run that there. Then you can do the same thing for your bottom side as well. Okay, now we can install our heat shield. The first thing we're going to need to do is grab our threaded grommet. It's going to go into this hole. And we can set our shield down in place. We'll line that up with the factory airbox mounting point, as well as our grommet, and we'll grab our provided bolt and flat washer and get that in. We'll get our factory 8mm bolt back in right here. Okay. Now we'll tighten down this 16mm bolt with our 16mm socket on our ratchet. Once we have that one tight, we'll tighten down our 8mm bolt with our 8mm socket. Next up, we can install our elbow coming out of our throttle body. So we've got our elbow and our clamp already on it. We've also got our intake air temp sensor. Now that just twists out of your factory intake tube. We're going to install our grommet for that onto our elbow. And very carefully insert this into it. Now this is a soft elbow and a soft grommet, so just be careful going in. Now that we have that in, we can get this onto our throttle body. You want to fully seat that, but we're not going to tighten it down just yet. We want to be able to adjust as needed. Next, we're going to get our clamp onto our intake tube side. Just want to slide that on. And try not, the edges of these are very sharp, so try not to cut your hand or your elbow in the process of this. Make sure that seats on really good. So now we can install our air intake tube. Now we've already got our clamp loosely in place on our elbow. You definitely want to push this back so you have some room to get this in. You want to be very careful. This is a very tight fit. Get that in as deep as you can. Pull your clamp back over. Okay. Now we can kind of aim this towards our shield. All right. So now we've got our bellowed coupler that we're going to install on the other side of our intake tube. You may need to slide your clamp on first. We'll get this on. We'll get our clamp in place. Again, you may need to loosen this up. Now once you've got this coupler and clamp on, you can install the clamp on the other side. And we'll slide this back down into place. Make sure your intake tube stays in that elbow. It's very important. Now we're going to get our filter into our coupler. We're going to slide that through. Line up our coupler. Now this is the tricky part. I'll make sure that gets over it. Seats on fully. So now that we have our filter and all of our clamps in place, we'll start tightening everything down. So we need a Phillips head screwdriver for our adapter clamp. Tighten that one up. And for the rest of them, we can use our 8mm socket. And while we're over here, we'll plug back in our intake air temp sensor. Then the last step is going to be to remove our stock PCV hose and install our new one. Now we're going to reach in and pop this off. You want to be gentle with these. You don't really want to like yank it off of there. We'll pop that off, set that aside. Now we've got our new hose, which also comes with clamps. We'll slide one of this in, set that on. Get the other side on to our intake hose, intake tube rather. Once we have both of those on, we'll take our Phillips head screwdriver, tighten down our clamps. Next, we can reinstall our engine beauty cover. Line this up. Secure that back down in place. Alrighty folks, that about wraps up our review and install of our Spectre Performance Cold Air Intake and Polished Finish for your 11 to 23 5.7 liter HEMI Charger without shaker hood. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Charger, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.